So don't mind the weeds. You know, we're not Pinterest perfect around here. But look, it's a baby okra. It literally is the little things that bring joy in a garden. It's the first okra of the year and I am excited. Now it's time to read. Hey y'all, welcome to the family that reads a lot. We've been reading a lot, but that's not exactly what this video is about. So, I've mentioned it here and there. We homeschool, and Holly wants to help. We homeschool. I have a son who is 11 and a daughter who is 8. He is technically going into 6th grade if you used public school wording, but I kind of lump the middle grades together and differentiate by subject. So this year for history, he is going to be learning about modern world history. So last year we learned about ancient history from, the very beginning all the way through, we stopped at the Renaissance. So this year we're going to pick up at the Age of Exploration and carry all the way through modern times. And then the following year we'll do American history. So we do kind of a 3-year cycle. You're not helping me stay focused. You're very distracting. So one of the ways we do history, we do a little bit of like textbook style work, but we read a lot of chapter books. So that's what this video is about, is the chapter books that he's going to be reading in particular. This is about, I don't know, maybe half of what he's going to read. This is part of what I've collected so far. Looking for some recommendations. If anybody has read these books and could save me having to pre-read them, that'd be great. I probably will not pre-read all of them. I'll be honest, this is not my favorite genre to pre-read, but some of them I know I'll need to get into for context. So just gonna go through the list. So starting, like I said, with the Age of Exploration, these are fast reads for him, probably a little bit below his level, but they're interesting to him. So this is from the Magic Tree House. This is their Fact Trackers series. So the books are way too easy. But these are their Fact Tracker series. This one is Pirates. These are by Will Osborne and Mary Pope Osborne. So these go into detail about the information that's found in the books. So it's all the facts that the simple stories cover. So like we may listen to the story real quick as an audiobook because it's super fast, but my daughter may be interested to hear the stories. But then this talks about the actual facts behind the information of pirates, different parts of the ship, things like that. So he enjoys these. They're quick. These take him like an afternoon. We're going on a car ride to go to a sport or something, and he can knock one of these out. So we're gonna do Pirates, and then we're gonna do Rags to Riches, which is the time of Charles Dickens. I haven't decided if I'm going to assign him a Dickens novel yet. I've listened to a few of them in audiobook. I read a few of them years ago, but haven't read recently. And I haven't come across one that I really feel like will be super interesting, and they're kind of harsh, and I don't know. I'm not a huge Dickens fan, put it that way. But this gives him some facts about the time. So horse-drawn carriages, things like that. What it was like in the textile mills. So we're going to be talking about the Industrial Revolution and life in the towns and things like that. So he'll probably, like I said, burn through these in a day. He may add a couple more of these. We'll see. But they're just little fun fact things. The other books are pretty much bigger. So the next, or not necessarily the next one, but another one he's going to read is Daughter of the Mountains by Louise Rankin. So this is about a girl, Momo, and her Lhasa Terrier who gets stolen, and she has to track him and find him. And so what it talks about that I'm interested in him learning about is the Great Trade Route and the mountains in India. So we're kind of doing a crossover with our world geography, our world history. We're adding in world geography and covering that pretty much at the same time. So trying to give him books particularly about Asia, because I feel like we haven't focused on that very much. Last year we had a lot of focus with the Renaissance and things on Europe. Obviously we spent a whole year focused on North America and Canada, Mexico mixed in a little bit with our American history, but we have not spent a lot of time focused on Asia. So want him to read this one to talk about the Great Trade Route. Then the next one, this is a hefty book, but it is one that he picked out. So it's Cracker, the Best Dog in Vietnam. Obviously, we're going to be getting into the wars this year. Haven't really touched on those before as he was elementary and I didn't feel it was appropriate for his age group. But going to be getting into them this year. He is 11, so I don't want to deep dive into the ugliness of war necessarily yet and all of the politics of war. We'll talk about it a little bit. We'll talk about the whys and things like that, but more so I want to discuss the geography of where it's happening, what happened, why it happened, how it changed the map, the world, things like that. But then I do want to find good things that happened, because yes, war is a terrible thing, but there are stories within that can show really the good in people, or in this case, the good in people and animals. So this is by Cynthia Kadohata. I'm gonna butcher that last name, sorry. But it says, Cracker is one of the United States' most valuable weapons. He's a German Shepherd. And then there's a soldier, Rick Hansky, who's headed to the war, and they're assigned together. They have to become friends before they can actually be of help to anybody. So it says, join a dog and her soldier as they develop a deep friendship in this unforgettable book from Newbery Medal winning author. So I want to pre-read this if I can, just because I'd like to know kind of the basis of this. His history books, I really like to discuss. I don't assign him a lot of like traditional book reports, but I want to discuss it and see what he got from it. And I'd like to know what the story is like. I don't think this is going to be a hard book to read by any means. I think it is designed for that middle grade age group. But I'm hoping to get to read this before he does. And I think we'll be talking about Vietnam after Christmas. I'm thinking we're gonna go Age of Exploration through maybe World War II at Christmas. And then after Christmas break, go from, right after World War II and the new world, the way everything's set up, until the modern times. So I think I have time to get this pre-read. Okay, next one. Water Buffalo Days, Growing Up in Vietnam. So this is by, oh y'all, I'm not gonna pronounce that. There are things a girl from Texas is not meant to try to say. And that's one of them, because I will make that terrible. But it's basically about a boy and his water buffalo friend. I assume that he helps the family work and things. This is a short book. It's 100 pages basically, but just to give him a different side of Vietnam than just the war side. So this more about like normal life and what the country is like, I'm hoping. And then this one. So I may try and pre-read that one as well. We'll see. This one is called Choo Choo's House by Gloria Whelan. Man, these names, I'm sorry. It says, when a girl is born in Choo Choo's family, it is quickly determined that the baby must be sent away. Okay, so this deals with China's one-child policy. Or no, at this time, the family may have only 2 children, and it dictates that every family should have a boy. So this girl is older. She's like a teenager, I believe. And then a baby is born who is a girl. So they would have to send the baby away because they're trying to have their boy. she decides that she's not going to let that happen to her baby sister. She's going to go away. It says 14-year-old Chuju knows she cannot allow this to happen to her sister, and understanding that one girl must leave, she sets out in the middle of the night, vowing not to return. So I think this is going to be a bit of a tough book just because of the topic that it brings up, but I think it's an important topic. So same thing, I will try if I can to pre-read this. It looks like, I mean, the pages are not full, so it looks like it's not going to be a hard one to kind of run through pretty quickly. So I'm going to put this on my pre-reading list, but it's one that I got for him. Last two, real simple, are I Survived. He's read these books, I think, before for fun, but actually really enjoys them, and they talk about some of the things that are happening. So the sinking of the Titanic, 1912, and the Japanese tsunami in 2011. These are just real quick clip kind of descriptions of what happened. They're obviously fiction, but talk about these disasters that took place. I'll probably throw in quite a few more of these because it's same thing. These are like 80 pages. He can read these in a car ride. He can read these in probably under an hour. So these just give him glimpses into different topics that happen because of the fact there's too much history to cover in the amount of time that we have to cover it. So that's just a quick look at some of the things that we're going to be using for modern world history this year. If you've read any of these, if you have any other good recommendations for that time period, I would love to hear them. Same as always, if you like what you hear, give me a like. If you want this kind of input, information, whatever, subscribe to the channel. I do lots of pre-reading for middle grades. Every now and then a YA, some adult fiction, all that kind of thing. I try and pre-read books so you don't have to because I know that it takes up a lot of time. So if you like what you see here, come back and see us. From the family who reads a lot, y'all go read a lot. Thanks.